think a highlight for me was probably Kylie Minogue, just because she's major and I just never thought. And yeah, and then she popped up and I was like, period.
Welcome to Studio Sessions, a video series for creative performers.
Each week we go behind the scenes on the shoots
And sit down with guests to discuss their careers, the creative industry, and share the lessons they've learned along the way. In this episode, we talk to Ella Goodwin, a professional commercial dancer. She's danced on TV shows, done movies, done tours with major artists, and has just come off the back of a tour with Shaka Khan.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
How's your shoot been today?
Shoot's been great. We've had so many laughs, and
It has been a very, very fun shoot.
It has, as always. But yeah, loved it. We had a really good day.
Cool. So like going to the outfits that you brought today. So if we could go to the first one.
Yeah, so that was a brown look. I like to call it the brown look.
Cool.
And I feel like brown's like my colour, or like browny gold. So I kind of wanted to use that, and like, I guess that was the idea for my shoot. It was just kind of to find my colours and then go off that.
Yeah, I feel like it's really good to understand what colours work for you as well. And obviously like brown goes really nicely with your eyes. It kind of goes well with your skin tone.
Yeah.
And I think having like sometimes that nice neutral palette can work really well.
Cute. I'm so happy today. Yeah, cool. Let's go.
So like focusing on your dance career, what has been your kind of like biggest highlight so far, or like thing you're most proud of?
Ooh, this is a really tough one. I think each job's been so different and they've all got amazing aspects to all of them. I think a highlight for me was probably Kylie Minogue, just because she's major and I just never thought. I was like, you kind of base your goals and you're like, I'm going to complete that and I want to dance for this person. And I kind of just took her off my list. I just kind of didn't really expect her to be someone I dance for.
Yeah.
And then she popped up and I was like, period.
And coming back down to like real life after those kind of jobs, how does that feel? Because if you've been on such a high doing like all the things you've ever dreamed of, to suddenly now I'm just sat at home doing nothing.
Yeah, it can be tough. It is quite hard to get yourself out of a place when you've been so high, to like you've just said, so high up and feeling so amazing, to then just go back to self-employed life where you're kind of you're waiting in line for the next job basically. It's tough. It's kind of, you've got to keep yourself busy to stop you getting in a hole with it.
And what kind of thing do you do to keep yourself busy during those periods?
I'd say, because I teach dance, so that keeps me so busy and I love it. I think it's kind of on par with the love I have for my career. But I also am training to be a fitness instructor, just so I can have something else that I can lean on if there's not enough work. And
what is it about teaching that you're drawn to?
Inspiring, I think. I know it's so classic, inspiring. But it's also and I did speak to you about this earlier when we were having our shoot, they're so hungry for it, because I teach at colleges, and they're so hungry for it. And it reminds me of when I was like a fresh graduate and I was like, wow, I remember being that vibe and being so inspired by anyone who I was taught by. So I think it's nice to be on the other side of it, to be like, oh, like now I can feel their energy and it inspires me.
I think that confidence in yourself, especially at that time in your life, is so important, because I feel like seeing the difference between people who are, I'm going to work, that have that confidence in themselves, to I'll just take anything that comes. Yeah. Is two very different kind of people. And I feel like trying to get yourself in the mindset of just trying to believe in yourself, and like even when you're not fully in, that belief isn't fully there, trying to convince yourself and just talk to yourself again and again to be like, I can do this, like it is going to happen.
Like we talk about writing things down. Like, this is a bit cringe for anyone watching. I've like written down for myself, I will dance for Tate McRae. Like that's just a dream of mine, and I've got that written on my mirror. And I just believe, because I can see it every day and I've written it down, that it's 9 times out of 10 going to happen. Actually, it will happen.
Yeah, you'll get
gonna
it. It'll definitely happen.
But yeah, I think it's that belief, because I think if I pride myself in one thing, is I always had belief, and I still do have belief in myself, and I can see it sometimes when I'm teaching students who does believe in themselves and who doesn't. And it's really interesting because we all can do it. We can all believe in ourselves, but it's just having that finding it, if that makes sense.
Cool. So on to your second outfit. What was that and why did you bring that?
Ooh.
Oh, that was a cool look.
It was a cool look. I like this one. I think this was a bit of just a play around outfit, which I love the cargo. So I think I'm in them quite a lot just day to day.
Yeah.
But they're also quite like, is that the word, grungy, like edgy?
Grungy, yeah.
And I don't think I've got a lot of that in my portfolio. So I think it was good for me to show a bit of like a,
No, I feel
I'm cool.
I know what you mean. I think it is really important to fill those gaps in your portfolio.
Yeah, like you could go to an audition in that. And I think I probably would go to an audition in that if it was for the right casting.
It's interesting, we talked to someone else on the show and they mentioned how one of the looks was also what they had for an audition as well.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is to kind of represent yourself kind of in a photo?
Huge, because I mean, like, I've been on jobs where the person on the job's been like, oh, none of you guys look like your photos, which it was a shock, but it is what it is. And I think it's so important to look like your pictures, because like I was talking to you guys about this earlier, but when I'm doing shoots, I used to always curl my hair.
Yeah.
And I suddenly deeped. I was like, I never go to an audition with curly hair. I always go with straight hair. And also, by the end of an audition, I've got wet hair because I'm a sweater, if you didn't know. And I think I always use a wet look in all of my shoots, because 9 times out of 10 in a casting, I'm going to look like that. So I think that's what's important to me, is I kind of try to stay away from like doing a lot with my hair, because 9 times out of 10 I'm just going to be like this.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I had a client who she'd come with kind of like massively curled head and like a big blowout and looked amazing, but then she then came back like months later and was like, actually I want some again, but with my hair down and straight.
Yeah.
Because I never actually have it like that.
Curl your hair,
and I think
no.
that's something really important to think about, is like, who are you? What do you normally look like? Also, I feel like often the thing that is you is the thing that's going to get you booked.
Yeah, 100%. That's so true.
So on that note, what do you think it is that gets you into a room?
There's a few answers to this one. I would firstly say, obviously, agencies, they are like the biggest reason of getting in a room. I would say show reel, your CV, dance footage. I would shy away with using like class footage. I don't think that's right to send to like a casting, unless it is just you. I think it can be a bit confusing if you're sending a class video and there's loads of people behind you.
Yeah.
To the person who's casting you is going to be like, who am I looking at? And also portfolio, like that's a huge one. And I think it's how you kind of conduct yourself and present yourself in a way that represents you is going to get you in the room. Also, one more thing, confidence. I think if you, again, what we're talking about, if you believe in yourself enough, you will be in those rooms.
Yeah. And I feel
with or without an agent.
Literally, confidence is so important,
so
I think.
Important.
And I think that's where, within my photo shoots, I try to bring out people's confidence as much as possible, because you can have someone who looks pretty but don't look confident.
Yes.
And I think that's a real difference. And I think that's where a lot of my successes come from, is that making people look confident in the photo.
Yeah.
And
I think you can sense it. If someone's confident in themselves, you're like, oh, and you want to be around it.
100%.
But if someone's underconfident or just lacks that like belief in themselves, you can also feel it. And I think that's half the reason why people get booked on jobs. And maybe in my career, I've been booked on jobs that maybe other dancers were better for.
Yeah.
It's just because in that moment, I was like, I am the best in the room, but obviously I'm not the best in the room.
But you're telling yourself that.
I'm telling myself it.
Yeah.
I deserve to be here and I deserve to be on this job just like everyone else. It's like that quote, if you don't believe in yourself, how is anyone else going to believe in you? Like,
100%.
It honestly reads, I just think that's the biggest thing. And I would say also for anyone graduating, like now, you've just got 100% know you are supposed to be in that room and believe it and feel like you're amazing. Because I think the minute doubt creeps in, which it will, like I've had so much of that in my career, and I've always, it's a battle now, but you've just got the minute you're in an audition room, just bam, like that goes out the window. You are 100% supposed to be there.
So going on to the third look.
Yeah.
What was that and why did you bring that?
Okay, so this look was the Britney Spears look. I wanted to have fun with this one because, you know, in like portfolios, everyone does the denim look. So it's always like the jacket and then like denim jeans. And I wanted to play with this and be like, obviously I did order denim boots, but they didn't come on time. But yeah, so I wanted to play with that kind of like fun element to a denim look.
Yeah.
And make it a bit more like star vibes, like Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Like a stage-worthy outfit. Yeah.
Cool, next one.
I think going for a stage-worthy outfit, as you said, I feel like is a really good, another one of those things that's like so good to have in a portfolio. Because I think we were talking about this off mic earlier, but you've got to think the same way you use social media. Like you scroll and you stop when something catches your eye.
Yeah.
And that's the exact same way that someone's casting. They're scrolling and then it's like, you need to be that thing that catches them.
It goes,
and it's like, whoa, who's this? That would always be my advice to someone is like, imagine you're casting. Imagine you're going through loads of people's portfolios. What's going to jump out to you? Like what's going to stop your scroll? And I think that's an important thing to think about as well, where you don't want a full portfolio of kind of like show stopping. It wants to be like, boom, catch your attention, get them in, and maybe have like a couple more, but then try and then strip back a little bit and kind of show who you are, because people don't walk around all the time in this big kind of like star mode.
My mate had a good point. She was like, when you do go for shoots, look at how models, like go on actual model agencies and see what they're wearing and like pick off that, because sometimes with dancers, we do get clouded with what we should wear.
Yeah.
And I do agree we should wear big like eccentric stuff because it makes you stand out. But it's this finding that other side. I struggle with that because I think in past shoots I have got some of those kind of like would catch your attention shots, but majority of mine were very subtle, I would say. And I knew I needed them when I first shot with you. I was like, I need to like go hard or go home. And I think that would really help me because I know now a lot of castings do happen now on Instagram. And if you've got those shots, like that will just get you booked. Yeah. And I know a lot of girls, I won't obviously name the job, but they did just book these girls on Instagram and it was for a major artist. And it was basically all your shots. I can't lie, Adam.
Was it 50
It was
Cent?
you. It was.
Yeah. Also, I think a really good point about people do cast on Instagram now. So making sure that your Instagram is at a level that if 50 Cent went on your Instagram right now, would he be like, boom, I want to hire her?
Yeah.
Or would it be just like random pictures that you've got of your life? Like,
if it doesn't make sense, he's just going like, and I do think that's how my Instagram looked. It just was a bit, like that
your
vibe.
Instagram's really cool now.
Yeah. Now you've helped me. You saved me. I've got jeans on, don't I? For the big reveal.
So going on to your fourth look.
Yeah.
With a wet look. What was the thoughts behind that? Apart from you being really sweaty.
I wasn't sweaty, guys. He's sweaty. It was the oil. He forced me to wear it. For this look, like we were saying, I did go like the classic basic look of like just white vest, denim jeans, which I don't think you can go wrong with, to be honest. I think we all need that in our portfolio. I spiced it up a bit with the like shorts, so it kind of made it a bit tomboyish. A bit more edge to it rather than just classic. But this was just quite a basic look for me, which I know I need, because I think the other two looks I did with you were three looks were pretty edgy, and I think I just needed like a plain Jane. Plain Jane with a little sweat to it.
What would you say is like the best way to build longevity into your career?
I would say for this, it's keeping your training up's a big one, because I think that keeps you relevant. I definitely sometimes could train more. I could definitely be more in on my training, but that keeps you relevant in the industry, like, because people will be seeing you on Instagram or seeing your videos and be like, oh yeah, or even just emailing agents keeps you relevant.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good strategy for longevity. And also, it doesn't always need to be like you always have to be in dance classes. It's just more like keeping fit, going to the gym, just keeping yourself in a place where if you were booked on a tour tomorrow, you'd be like, oh, I'm ready. And another thing I wanted to touch on was being a nice person. I think is so underrated, because I think at the end of the day, we all want to work with nice people.
100%.
And everyone I've ever met always says they just want to work with nice people. And I think it goes so far because that builds your communication with people, it builds relationships, and then that's what takes you on to keeping in the industry, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, it's like if I was going on a tour with someone and I had to be with the same group of people for months on end, then it's like you're going to want those people to be nice people.
Yeah.
People that you're going to get on with, people that aren't going to cause any trouble. And like, there's always going to be the one or two who I'm sure does, but then people will remember that and they just won't work with those people again. So if you're the people that they get on with and they like to.
Yeah, very that. And also, I don't want this to come across like in a malicious way, but as dancers, when you're on a gig with other dancers, you don't also know who they're going to be later in their career.
Yeah.
They could be the next Jean Lee, they could be the next Lisa Spencer, like they could be anyone. And if you're rude to that person or you're mean or anything like that, people always remember how you make them feel, right?
100%.
And I think that's gonna shoot yourself in the foot with it. So it's just not hard. Just be a nice person.
I think that's the idea of people remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
Is like super powerful. And
Yeah.
I think when you're having any relationship in life with anyone or anything, whether it's in your career or kind of outside of that, it's like always remembering if you're having a conversation or interaction with someone, how did they feel when you left them? And if you can make sure that when people leave you, they're like, oh, I really enjoyed that. I had a good feeling being with them.
Yeah.
That's so powerful.
So powerful. And then you just want to book that person again. I get why nice people work with nice people, because they're like, oh, they were great, we'll just whack them back on. I think it can be tricky if you do come in with a bit of an energy. People will pick up on it. I've definitely been in a room where I'm like, oh, I can feel like bad energy.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to put myself back in that situation. So yeah, I think that's a really key element to keeping your career going, is being a nice person, just having those relationships and like healthy relationships.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been such a fun day.
I really enjoyed it. Love you guys.
That's it.
Bam. Mic drop.
Okay, right. You guys. Thanks, guys.
I was going to just just be laughing now. I feel like I don't really even know what my own question is.
I'm slow.
Oh my God, did you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
It's like a
Because eclectic means different.
eclectic.
Eccentric means like crazy and loony.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the boots made it eclectic.
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 Yeah.
So the boots, I think, made it eclectic.
I feel like a little slug. I can do with this in it.
And breathe. Wait.
Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this episode, please share it. If you want to see more of these, click subscribe. And if you've got any questions or anything you want to ask, just drop them in the comments below. See you in the next session.